American multinational called Middleby Corporation, which was a giant in the food service space, a Chicago-based company. They ended up buying us out with, about crore of rupees worth of overheads that we were incurring monthly. We were finished. In a crowded marketplace of a Mercedes on one hand and a ambassador car on the other, we are trying to position ourselves as a Honda or a Kia or a Creta. And in the last 10 months, we have seen our growth rates jump from 45% to 70%. We clocked a turnover of 200 crores. We'll get very, very close to 275 odd crores. We clearly see ourselves at a 600 to 700 crore opportunity in about 3 years' time. Well, my name is Neeraj Seth. I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called Trufrost Butler Private Limited. We are an 8-year-old company. This is our second innings as entrepreneurs. My first entrepreneurial venture was a company called Celfrost Innovations, which we started way back in 2004. Before that, I used to work in the corporate world, my last assignment being Blue Star. In 2004, when we started Celfrost, it was rooted in the space of commercial refrigeration. We scaled up the brand quite quickly in the market, had a pan-India footprint of about 120 odd people in about 10 years. And that is when we developed aspirations of taking the brand global, got in conversation with an American multinational called Middleby Corporation, which was a giant in the food service space, a Chicago-based company. To cut the long story short, they ended up buying us out. I continued to be the president of the acquired entity, exited 6 months later, went through a longish non-compete. And in 2018, 8 years ago, we started Trufrost Butler, which has 2 brands now in India. Trufrost, in which we do a bunch of commercial cooling products, which are designed for hotels, restaurants, bars, cafes, bakeries, and so on and so forth. And in the Butler brand, we curate a very interesting range of hot equipment that again goes into the same kitchens. It could be pizza ovens, fryers, coffee machines, and similar products. When we started our first entrepreneurial journey, we had to go back to doing the basics. And to my mind, if there is one thing that really describes me is quest, hunger, learning, and trying to constantly funnel the voice of the customer in whatever we're doing. The one thing which I would always strongly advocate, particularly in today's world, which is not the same as 40 years ago, where there's a lot of social media noise and buzz. Amidst this noise, if we can stay focused on the problem we are solving and be resilient in the problem we are solving, I think that's something that should stand out in the clutter that we are facing today. So in the first company that I set up, I had previous experience in working for 3 different professional companies, which taught me a lot. So I put those learnings into building the first venture by setting the processes, setting HR policies, setting SOPs, building products which were relevant to what we were doing, and so on and so forth. And there was a tremendous amount of learning. At that point in time, there were a lot of international companies which were expanding their presence in India, and the industry which we work. There was McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut, Starbucks, Subway. There was so many of them coming in. So we were kind of growing with their growth by playing an enabling role. When I restarted Trufrost, we did not want to recreate the previous venture. We wanted to incorporate the learnings from both the successes of the previous venture and also where we might have failed in the previous venture and become more relevant to what India, the new India was. So in 2018, when we started, we saw the emergence of a lot of local brands in our space which were ramping up big time in India. And we were not dependent in the food service business, particularly with only international brands ramping up the India piece. There was food being consumed in tier 1 towns, in metros, in tier 2, tier 3, at airports, at highway restaurants. So all this was crying out for help. The new entrepreneur, which was emerging in the India from the shadows, was not somebody who had done his masters in hotel management and he was setting up a restaurant. This was driven by passion. And when Entrepreneurship is driven by passion. You need help, you need partnerships. And we thought we could, in the second innings, play that partnership role, that enabling role, and find a sweet spot where the target audiences found us more relevant to what works in India, what price points work in India, what products work in India, and how the equipment community engages with the target audience in making it not a vendor and a supplier arrangement, but a partnership kind of format. So this is one huge differential that we've seeded Trufrost and Butler with. And so now we have experience centers where we do experiential marketing, which is something which was unheard of 20 years ago in India. The biggest mistake, I assume, first-time startups or founders make is by being blinded by the very idea of business or the problem they are solving. They do not focus so much on execution. Uh, they are driven by passion of their idea. And possibly the second thing is that, successful businesses are not a solo journey. Uh, they are a journey that should be accomplished with a lot of people supporting you. It could be your employees and staff. It could be people who are playing a complementary role. It could be your vendors. It could be your channel partners. It could be influencers in that space. So unless you have something for all the stakeholders and you are navigating this journey together, it will not become really meaningful. So again, I would divide the answer in two parts. If you are building for India, then very clearly the starkest gaps are in infrastructure, are in education, are in inclusive growth, are in healthcare, are in food, because food will continue to be consumed and the food tastes in India are evolving. The young demographics are taking to new cuisines, new food formats. So these 4 or 5 sectors will remain the sectors of the future, and somebody investing in these meaningfully with purpose will add a lot of value. But if you're building for the world, clearly I think the market is driven by technology, automation, deep tech. So those are the nuances which are more current. But the one thing which will remain common is your agility and your quest to adapt to the changing environment and cater to the new evolving world. Well, we had several setbacks which actually gave us more knowledge and resilience than the successes that we've accomplished. When I was always a good student, good at studies, good at sports, good at extracurricular activities, and got through MBA, which was considered as lucrative, promising to make a career. Got in the first company, which was a multinational company back then. And the first setback to me came when, as a management trainee, after 1 year, my boss recommended that we'll have to extend your probation. So it came as a stroke of, what shall I say, bad luck. But it jolted me. It allowed me to introspect. It's a different matter that the corporate headquarters rejected the idea of probation extension, but it actually certainly got me thinking. So then I plugged the gaps that might have been there at that point in time. And this happened again and again and again. Whenever we started something, when I started Celfrost, we were exclusive distributors for a Danish brand called Westfrost, which at back then was a very premium brand. It commanded a 10% price premium purely on strength of its quality. And this was being distributed by by Blue Star before we started Celfrost. And when I quit Blue Star to start Celfrost, Westfrost came to me and they offered the distribution of Westfrost range of products to me. We started, given the background that it was at a 10% premium, immediately the Blue Star reaction was to drop pricing of what they were doing. So the gap became 20-22%. We ordered the first 6 containers. Before they hit India, I got a call from Westfrost Denmark that, because of business compulsions, we have to jack up pricing by 6%. So with a 26-27% gap within the acceptable price bands in India, we thought we were dead before even we were born. But then when your backs are to the wall, you rediscover yourself. And that is where the Celfrost brand came in. and we created history after that. It became a very powerful commercial refrigeration brand. We curated the best quality from overseas. We branded it. We made it relevant to India. We created a service infrastructure that was darling of the target audiences whom we worked with. And the rest is history. And again, this repeated itself when we started Trufrost just about 2 years ago. By the time we thought we had scaled up, we have, supply chain arrangements with the best quality in the world. We were curating equipment from the best OEMs from across the world, whether from Italy, Germany, or China. The government announced that our products will have to comply with BIS stipulation, so they need to be BIS compliant, and none of the international vendors were ready for BIS compliance. So we thought that with about a crore of rupees worth of overheads that we were incurring monthly, we were finished. But then when your backs are to the wall, you rediscover yourself. And that is where we said, okay, to address the elephant in the room, we will invest now in manufacturing. So now we have a 1 lakh square feet facility, which we have started in Mumbai just a couple of months ago. And we have 60 different models which are BIS certified. So in that sense, we are the first company with a comprehensive range of products which are BIS compliant. So we took the biggest setback in our life just recently to hopefully make it a game-changing opportunity for ourselves. When we started Celfrost in 2004 would have meant being able to afford the EMI of my house, being able to afford the education of my daughters, be able to uh, afford a livelihood, being able to have a house of my own. But success today would mean doing much bigger things. And now I think it is more about being driven by passion of what we are doing, trying to see that what we are creating becomes bigger than your own name and it lasts longer. In short, I would be driven more by leaving a legacy rather than just creating something. And our net worth, I feel, should not be viewed in a materialistic way. It should be seen by the number of people we have developed, the number of managers who started low, but they have blossomed into leadership material now. To me, those are the more the determining factors of success today. When we started Trufrost, and the previous company was now multinational because it was acquired by a multinational, you would actually be surprised that we have 150 people today with us, and roughly 50% of them come from our past relationships. So they were people who stitched in to our vision, our way of doing things, our way of giving respect to professionals, our way of empowering them. So I think we've also benefited by having 3 different stints with 3 very large companies who gave people management a lot of respect. And before we even formed Trufrost and Butler, we had our HR policy in place. So those are the things which have driven us, and so we've kind of managed to leverage on that constantly. The one message that, if I were to give one, that is for entrepreneurs of tomorrow, is to surround yourself with positive people, to cultivate a habitat of people who are encouraging, who are positively inclined, but who, when needed, can put a mirror in front of your face that you're wrong. So if you have that kind of habitat, life becomes more enjoyable, more meaningful. It is driven more by purpose. So it's not just in business that gives you meaning. It gives a meaning to life as well. So I am actually driven by, I draw inspiration from Urdu Sher, if I were to share with you. This is written by a very prominent poet. And it is just 2 lines. It has got such depth that you can derive a whole lot of nuance and meaning from that. वक्त के दामन में कोई अपनी एक कहानी रख. So I wrote a whole ghazal around it कि इतिहास के पन्नों में कोई अपनी एक कहानी रख. So these 2 lines mean a lot, not just to me, it should mean a lot to all of us. That are we relevant to the world we live in? Are we relevant? Are we adding value to the businesses we run? Are we relevant? Are we bringing some purpose to whatever we are doing? So that would be my one message. AI is here to stay, and we do not need to be scared. AI will have to be used in a measured way to bring consistency. AI is a good assistant to have. AI should bring in automation. AI should bring in data analysis on our tips. But the analytical part, the creative part, should still belong to us. So I think it is very, very important that we adapt to AI. We have already, for the last 3-4 years, brought a tremendous amount of automation, a tremendous amount of AI in the products we market. What in our industry, for example, the biggest pain point of the food service industry, whether it's a restaurant or a coffee shop, is to produce a good cup of coffee or a slice of pizza on a consistent basis across stores, across geographies. And this process cannot be chef dependent, either the skill of the chef or the mood of the chef. It has to be a lot of standardization of ingredients, a lot of standardization of processes, standardization of time, temperature cycles in the ovens and the coffee machines in which you produce these products. And therefore, if you can bring in technology, build in technology into each of these products, there are products available in the market which will give you a signal. In our ice machines, for example, we have precautionary red flagging that the filter is now choked, please clean it. So it will bring in more efficiency. In our combi ovens, we have a feature where if the chicken which is being roasted is moist, the product and the temperature will adjust itself to those nuances and still give you a consistent food. In our coffee machines and grinders, the two talk to each other on a Bluetooth, through a Bluetooth device, and they adjust themselves in a manner that you produce a consistent cup of coffee, cup after cup. So there is a tremendous amount of technology which has already gone in, and I think we should be embracing it rather than calling it a demon. I see this to be one of the biggest opportunities, honestly. The Western world is known to a certain level of quality, but a certain level of price point. Given the struggles through which the world is going through right now, and the nationalistic fervor that we seem to be experiencing with different countries, and with the large number of bilateral FTAs that are being signed across between two countries, I think this is a huge opportunity for us to make in India for the world. I have a feeling that India can make in India for the world at quality standards which are at par and at price points which will be music to the ears of the Western world. So I see this to be a humongous opportunity for India at this point in time. The only legacy that I want to leave behind is to be remembered for doing the right thing, whether it's for business or it's for my children or it's for the society at large. I should be remembered for the value that I added to community at large, to the softness I brought to social engagements, to the fun and laughter. I think those are the memories I would rather that I leave behind when I'm gone. ख्वाब आंखों में ही रहें तो मर जाते हैं. So my advice to everybody is to live your dreams and add value and continue to learn. Keep learning. Adapt to the world the way it is changing. I think if I start afresh, I would be an architect or interior designer. I'm still accused कि ये आप काम तो ऐसे ही कर रहे हो. आपको तो designer होना चाहिए. You should design homes and offices and So this is my hobby. Design is my hobby, and it really drives me. It fuels my passion. So whether it's my own home or our offices in Bangalore or Bombay or Gurgaon, or my sister's home, or homes of any friends who need help on design, I would do that probably. The entrepreneurship pangs actually come out flying when you, in your hearts of hearts, know that you have a solution to a problem that you're dealing with. Number two, when you know that that solution has a proof of concept. You've proven it in a test lot or a pilot lot that your solution is the right solution for that problem. Thirdly, if that problem is big enough to create a business opportunity. But I think more than any of this, you are ready to take an entrepreneurial leap when you know that you are not limited by the number of hours of day that you have spent in the employment. In entrepreneurship, you will have to be doing things which are beyond your job description, or which will be unplanned. This is something which is not a part of your skill set. Every problem you will have to solve. So if you feel you have that bandwidth to take that leap, I think that is the moment you should get cracking on entrepreneurship. So what are our plans for the next 3 to 5 years as a company? I'll go back to take the help of certain trends which make me say what I say. One of the trends that we went after and the sweet spots that have gotten created for our two brands, Trufrost and Butler, is that the food service equipment space in India has been highly polarized for many years. There are European and American brands which have been ruling the market at the upper end, but they are very premium priced. They're like the Mercedes of the industry. And then there are products with unreliable quality, very inexpensive, but prone to service breakdowns and so on and so forth, or there are cheap imports. So the positioning that we have for both Trufrost and Butler in the Indian industry is in a crowded marketplace of a Mercedes on one hand and a ambassador car on the other. We are trying to position ourselves as a Honda or a Kia or a Creta. So this is a sweet spot pricing which resonates a lot with Indian entrepreneurs, and we've been beneficiaries of a very high level of growth. Our growth in the last 7-8 years has compounded growth rate has been over 45-50%. We just did a fundraise in September last year, where we infused growth capital in the company to scale up our manufacturing ambitions, and we have set up a 1 lakh square feet facility, assembly facility in Bhiwandi. We are setting up one more by the middle of next year, in addition to the one that we have set up. We have scaled up our warehousing. We are beefing up our service infrastructure. And in the last 10 months, we have seen our growth rates jump from 45% to 70% year on year, same period. So we are assuming that this growth rate is relying on the positive tailwinds in the food service space. There are more hotels opening, there are more restaurants opening, there are multi-cuisine, there's delivery chains which are spreading their wings. There are dining restaurants, there's casual dining. So there is so much action. There are more airports opening, each of which require food courts. There are highway restaurants opening up. There are more cinemas opening up with food thrown in. So the whole food landscape is going through a humongous change. And we have to drive this change. We have to enable this change. And therefore, we are hoping that we clocked a turnover of 200 crores in the last March fiscal, March 26. We are hoping we'll get very, very close to 275 odd crores coming March. And we clearly see ourselves at a 600 to 700 crore opportunity in about 3 years' time. So that's the kind of growth we envisage.